Hey, what is going on? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. It is October 1st, 2024. I'm GB. I got Brian and Coop with me as always. What's up, guys?
What's
Good to
going
have you
on? Good to
back.
have you back.
Man, it's great to be back, man.
Yeah.
Trip, as the wise Negro poets, be legit and Too Short said, the places I go make me so international. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to be back, man. It was a cool 2 week hiatus. Was doing some work travel, so shout out to the company and appreciate the everyone involved that got me there, and now we back. So back to doing my favorite thing with the homies, talking sports. We're gonna talk today about the A's, man, as they make their exodus out of Oakland, the impact to that, to the city, to the fans. I wanted to get Coop's take on this because Coop, I know you actually watch baseball. You're an A's
hmm
fan. I'd
Yep.
be considered an A's fan if I had to pick a team. I just don't really care about baseball, to be honest. So, but if I had to pick a team, it'd definitely be the A's. Talk about the impact there, and how business and sports intertwine with politics. We'll talk about college football, and we'll talk about the league, the NFL. So, kind of starting with the A's, man. The coverage is crazy here, right? Because we're in the Bay Area, so seeing kind of some of the think pieces and people going in on John Fisher, who owns the A's, as they've been doing a lot to basically try and leave this city. Understandably, right? In the California and the Bay Area, I'd say especially, you can't expect public money to fund a stadium. Taxes are too high. Cost of living is too high for them to be paying for your billionaire bill for a stadium that we're going to also then buy tickets to. So didn't work. A's are leaving. Coop, I just want to get your thoughts as an A's fan. Oh, we lost him.
While he's figuring it all out, I'll say a couple of things. I just think this is a tragedy. I mean, the reason why it's a tragedy is that the quality of the fan that the A's fan base is
100%.
top notch. Now, they're not the wealthiest. They're not, going over and able to spend a lot of money on corporate boxes and things of that nature. But they are they're loyal to the team. They like the team. They just never got the due that they were, or what the team that they deserve for their fandom with the Oakland A's, and that's unfortunate. That's tragic. We'll have to hopefully get that level of fandom in a different location. But as the Las Vegas Raiders understand, like, you can move the team, and some of the fans will come with you, but it's just never exactly the same. Jason, what are your thoughts about the A's?
Sorry about that, a temporary disconnection. But so I've always said California does not build stadiums for teams. So I knew a new stadium from the taxpayers was never going to happen. I've talked to a lot of A's fans for the past couple of years, and it was kind of expected in all of our minds that the A's will leave and that the owner will not put money into the team, even though he has plenty of money. Or his whole team has plenty of money to put into the A's. They just will not do it unless they actually leave. I'm not sure if the stadium has actually started construction in Las Vegas. I was
It's
told it
not.
hasn't.
They don't have a
Yeah,
deal.
but right, no deals in place. But I understand why they're leaving Oakland. I've said for at least 5 years now, there's no money in Oakland, so I understand why they left. I understand why the Raiders left. I understand why the Warriors left. The problem is people think, okay, we're going to Sacramento. They're still kind of close by. Well, number one, no, they're kind of not. Sacramento's a couple hours away, especially when
Yep.
it's traffic. Could be up to 3 hours. But
Yep.
also ticket prices, what people don't understand. At the A's game, I used to always tell you this, Glenn. We sat in the seventh row for $35 a piece. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
sure did.
That's not
So
happening in
show hat.
Sacramento. Right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, that's not to see Otani of all players. Okay,
Yep.
that's not happening in Sacramento. Sacramento them prices are sky high because so many people in Sacramento are happy to have a professional
Yeah, it's a
baseball team
novelty.
Yep.
in their area that they want. They have close access to these games. So these ticket prices, they're going to be very high. I've seen them. They're high for to see the Sacramento A's of Oakland. But it's sad, Glenn, because when you think of sports in Oakland, you think of the A's. You used to think of the Raiders, but Raiders were kind of a transient team because it's like
That's fair.
L.A., Oakland, Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
You used to think of the people say, well, why not the Warriors? Because Warriors never really truly felt Oakland, even though they played in Oakland. They were Golden State
Golden
Warriors. You know what I
State.
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yep.
So they never really felt Oakland. The Oakland A's actually felt like Oakland, man. It was like even people who didn't watch baseball, they remember, Ricky Henderson, Hindu, even all these players, Reggie Jackson, all of them, Dave Stewart, Mark
Dave
McGuire,
Stewart.
Dave Kingman, you know what I'm saying? it just a lot of players came up through Oakland, man, and some of them guys end up being Hall of Famers. But it's actually sad, Glenn. But at the same time, when you kind of know this was coming for a few years now, you're kind of over it. You know what I mean? You just knew it was
Sure.
going to happen. So, I just think Oakland's just a staple. The Oakland A's are a staple of the community, and it's just actually sad to see them go. I would never truly accept them as a Sacramento A's team. I will
Yeah.
always think they're, the Oakland A's, but they're just
Yeah.
playing in
Us too.
Sacramento.
And
Will
being
they
being
change the team name for the couple of years
no,
between Oakland?
I heard they
It'll be the Oakland A's of
I heard
Sacramento.
they will not,
Yeah, yeah.
but y'all will be able to find me on K Street if you come on by with some Sacramento A's merch. So
Well,
stop on
Brian,
by my tent. You feel me?
hey Brian,
$20. Got you.
The A's minor league team, Sacramento River Cats, is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I knew that
Yeah.
they had that affiliation. I just didn't know if they're changing
Right.
the team.
Right.
Because they had all those. If you remember, the Angels changed their team name like a million times, and
Right.
they
Yeah.
used to be the California Angels, and then they turned into the Los Angeles Angels. Then it was the Anaheim Angels,
Anaheim, yeah.
and it was the Anaheim Angels of
No,
Los
Los Angeles
Angeles
Angels of Anaheim. That's
Yes,
what it was.
there you go. Los
Yeah.
Angeles Angels of
Yeah.
Anaheim.
Which was stupid, but yeah.
It
that
was
dumb.
just they just wanted a foothold in the market. But anyways, I was just wondering if they're going to do all that craziness, change their name
Yeah.
16 different ways.
I
in the next
heard
3
they are
years.
not. I mean, I'll get some gear, I'm sure, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
To lose it, like you said, that's well said. I think the A's have always represented Oakland. Maybe that's, I was a Raider fan, so it made sense. Been in the Coliseum, but I mean, those teams, Brian, you made a good point about the fan bases, and I felt the same about the Raiders. They weren't like the type of fan, the music, the tailgate, all the stuff that you get associated with the Raider game. Now you look at Oakland. Oakland fans are very knowledgeable about baseball. They know when to cheer. They know what's going on. They know their players. They're very solid. The people, like you said, Coop is not $1 million, but you go to an A's game, it feels like baseball. That stadium is one of the older stadiums, but it feels like classic baseball. Right. So
definitely.
It's definitely sad to see that atmosphere go, especially for more corporate money in Las Vegas.
I also see, Glenn, a lot of Oakland A's fans are Raiders fans as well.
Yeah.
So they so when I talk to a lot of people, they accepted the fact because the Raiders left, they accepted the fact the A's were going to leave. So I think those who followed the Raiders to Vegas will follow the A's. But there are some Raider fans, I'm sure both of y'all know them.
Yeah.
They're done with the Raiders because,
Yeah.
They tired of them leaving Oakland. And I think, they might be the same type of fans that might be tired of the A's because they left Oakland as well because the Raiders hurt them. So
yeah, it's easy enough to not follow them in Las Vegas anyway. Baseball is a very different sport than football, in my opinion. I mean, football, you get people out for the weekend. It's a perfect situation for Las Vegas. You come in Thursday night, you stay till Monday, or there's a Thursday night game, you're in there. It's perfect. It's a weekend situation. You're there Saturday night spending money. Fabulous. Baseball's a little different. You got weekend games. Baseball's double headers. Baseball's midday games, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. So, like, my opinion has always been they need to change everything. If you're the A's of Las Vegas, I don't think it has the same effect. You need to go like the Vegas Knights did and make it completely a Las Vegas thing. You gotta basically leave Oakland because there's that history doesn't translate over there.
Yeah, well, they were Philadelphia, then Kansas City, then Oakland, so they probably will be Las Vegas. To be perfectly honest with you, they've changed 4 times. So
change the names. Like I would change the logo. I do everything because you're not gonna. What are you doing? So it's going to be kind of weird to see him in Sac. I mean, I'm up there pretty often because the family's out there. So, and Coop, you be up there too because Little Man's up there. But I think we have some opportunity. So I don't know. It's very weird, but I wanted to get y'all take. So
no doubt,
appreciate that. So so from the A's to college football, I know y'all kind of were talking about a little bit last week when I was watching.
Yeah, GB, we was on the we were talking about Georgia and Alabama that game, and I said that's a W. Georgia was favored. I said that's a WTF game. The wrong team is favored, and Alabama ended up pulling. I think Georgia tried to make a comeback, but me and Brian were on the same side of that. Brian, I want to get your take. Did you watch any of that game?
Alabama, so Georgia? I watched a bunch of it, and then I stopped watching it. So I watched a little bit at the beginning. I was going to a family event, and then I got a text from a friend who said, are you watching this? I said, man, I stopped. He's like, no, Georgia's coming back. I mean, it was a barn burner at the beginning, and it looked like Alabama was done. Georgia was done.
Yep.
And they made it a game. They had a lead for 32 seconds. And then, Alabama put it to bed. But Alabama had to do more holding on than running away in that game, which is unfortunate. But we both kind of were on the idea of the mindset of this didn't make sense. Alabama was playing better football against the same quality of teams that Georgia was struggling with. I don't think either of them's played anybody of real note other than themselves. And so so it was a big deal. I gotta say I don't understand what happened in the rankings after this game. But
Alabama's number one, yeah.
Let's simmer it down a little bit.
Yeah, when we broke down this game, Glenn, another thing I pointed out was if Nick Saban was still coaching this team, Georgia would have won because Georgia kind of figured out how Alabama plays under Nick Saban. Now they got the coach from Washington who had Michael Penix last year. He's a really good coach and a really good offensive mind. And so you really can't game plan against him when you really haven't played against him. So I knew he would have some wrinkles for Alabama, and then they ended up beating Georgia, scoring 41, doing it too. Kind of impressive against Georgia. Another game me and Brian had talked about. Oh, Glenn, did you have any words on that game?
No.
No. I was going to say we skipped a day though. Like Miami was the first.
Right, that's what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Brian. So it's funny, Brian, because to be perfectly honest with you, when we talked through this game, I made a bet on Virginia Tech. Because you had asked me, do you really think that Miami's the seventh best team in the country? I said, hell no, they're not. And I said, I've watched them play these Thursday games for years. I don't give a damn how much they favorite. Usually they lose these games, and they almost lost this game. I don't know if you saw the ending of the game. I thought it was a catch, and then and then the replay, I was like, well, maybe it's not. And then they came back and they said, okay, yeah, I guess it's not a catch. And so, friend of ours, Derek, texted me and said, yeah, that was a business decision right there.
He sent me the same text.
That's funny.
He said that's the definition of a business decision right there.
Right. Well, how you feel about that
game? I didn't get to watch all of this game.
Okay.
I had some other things going on, but I was following on my phone, and it was a little bit of a tug of war for a while. Again, I just, as I said before, I just don't think Miami, with the competition that they've played, has shown that they're the seventh best team in the country. And even in winning that game, they went down, which is unusual. It doesn't always work that way. But it is certainly a different, and they still didn't go down much. I mean,
they went down one in the rank, 7 to 8.
One spot in the rankings for that performance, I think, is still overvaluing them pretty significantly.
Yeah, and I'll be at the game. Shouts out to my man T. Rich. T. Rich is from Florida, Miami Hurricane fan. He went to the Florida-Miami game in Gainesville. He's flying out here to go to the Cal game, so I'm going to meet up with him. I ain't seen him since college, since Howard, but he's coming out here for the Miami Hurricane. We play Cal Berkeley. They are 10.5-point favorites. If I was betting the game, I would take Cal plus the 10.5. I would not take Miami to cover that spread on the road, but I'll be happy to be there. GB, too bad you can't make it.
I know, man. I gotta go home and see mom and sis. Shout outs, but I gotta get back after the trip. I definitely wanted to, bro.
Any other games from last week, Brian? You wanna?
Well, I think it's worth talking about Texas, not because of their game, but because of what's going on. Okay. So I said last week that I think it's not a crazy argument for me to make, because I'm not a Shedeur Sanders fan, so the other fan, to say that Texas might have the two best college quarterbacks in the country. So Quinn Evers has been generally considered the best in college quarterback. Yeah. He got hurt early. They put in Arch Manning, who's absolutely been incredible and was incredible again this week with 325 yards and 2 touchdowns and a little bit of swag for the Manning family. But it looks like Evers is coming back this week. And it looks like that means that Arch Manning's ascent is going to be postponed until later on, either because of injury or because of Evers going into the pros. And I think that's just a really interesting storyline. I mean, it's happened before in professional sports. It happens, all the time. Someone gets hurt, new person comes in, takes the job. But it's different in college sports when Evers is supposed to go into the draft this year after the season, and there really isn't an opportunity, and it's harder for coaches to say, "Hey, Arch Manning might be better than you, top quarterback draft. You're going to go into the draft, and we're going to stick with him because of the impact." I mean, if they were to do something like that, it would ruin that young man's draft. He could go from number 1 to, as mentioned before.
And Quinn Evers is on the cover.
I just think that's really interesting. I do think that Texas is still the best team in the country, better than Alabama, even though, they were playing Mississippi State and beat them handily. And Alabama beats Georgia. I don't know how you go up 3 spots because you beat the number 2. I don't know how you go from 4 to number 1 when you beat the number 2 team. But
SEC bias, my man.
yeah, I know what it is.
SEC
But,
bias.
Yeah, right. I got you. I want to get to one game. We had talked
Yeah.
about USC and Wisconsin, and I knew it was a
Yep.
14.5-point spread. I said I wasn't sure which way to go because I'm not sure how much of a physical toll the Michigan game took on them. You said you would take USC minus the 14.5 and during that game. And you just stated your reasons why. I think it was more on the offensive side. And they did score 38 against Wisconsin, and they did cover the spread. Did you watch any of this game? So one, I didn't watch any of the games.
every moment of this game. And so,
Okay.
look, this game, the first half, USC did the same thing that they did against Michigan. They were just able to clean it up a little bit sooner. They came out and had one big play in the beginning, and then after that, there was absolutely no offense from the USC side. And they looked again a little out of sorts playing against a Wisconsin, tough, physical team defense. Just where I'm being honest here, Wisconsin was dirty. Dirty as all could be. They were kicking, they were punching, they were doing all types of dirty
They
stuff.
don't like them LA boys.
And that was exactly it was like a welcome to the Big Ten moment.
Right.
But what the coach has done again is he brought them into halftime. He made the adjustments. He brought it back, and they looked really good. And the defense looked really good. So while the offense put up 14 per period in the second half, or quarter in the second half, they also put 2 donuts on Wisconsin in the second half, and that was the difference. I think we could safely say that USC has figured out how to play tough teams in the Big Ten. We'll find out. If they have another slow first half against Minnesota, I will be concerned about their ability to beat some of these other teams. Like they couldn't beat Michigan. Will they be able to beat a team like Ohio State and so on and so forth? But I think they figured it out. We'll find out this week against Minnesota. So, we'll go there.
Yeah, I got to give a quick shout. I don't have any other games to talk about, but I want to give a quick shout out to Kentucky. Kentucky beat Mississippi, which is a good team. They only lost to Georgia by 1. So maybe Kentucky's probably a little bit underrated defensively by holding Georgia to 12 and Mississippi to 17. That's kind of crazy, but I still wouldn't bet on them. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Any other games you want to talk about? B, I don't have any for college.
No, I think most of the games that we were talking about, for all the people listening, we did a very good job of making our picks last week. So
we did.
maybe listen to us.
Right, that part.
I can't remember, but I think I got all the college picks that I made.
Yeah,
right.
you
We
did.
were mostly the same across the board, but I think I got them all right.
I just didn't make a pick on USC Wisconsin, but yeah, you're right. We made them all. Okay, and also I gotta give you another one. We got Notre Dame, Louisville too. We took Notre Dame at home. It was 6.5-point spread, and they won by 7. So yeah, we got that one too.
Well, y'all professionals. I mean, one got a business, one could. So
That's funny.
yeah.
It's all good.
I was gonna say real quick. Did y'all see that Gonzaga's trying to join the Pac-12 for hoops and
not trying? It's done. It's a done deal.
And Sac State is trying to join the Pac-12.
That one's
football.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
But it was some teams that got offered, like UNLV and another one. They said no to the Pac-12.
They said no.
No.
Yeah.
And they were some breakup and I don't know, but all that kind of stuff. But Gonzaga's done.
So Gonzaga's in the Pac-12.
The tragedy of this is that I would really wish that for UCLA and USC, they had joined the Big Ten for football and left them alone for all the other sports. And this has been talked about a lot because for other sports, for swimming and all that kind of stuff, having to travel all over the place
doesn't really matter. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but Gonzaga joining UCLA in the Pac-10-12 and basketball would have been really, really great to see.
Yeah.
Big Ten basketball, not really all that exciting.
What conference was Gonzaga in? The Mountain? Well, no, they wasn't in Mountain West. They was in something else.
The WC West Coast Conference.
West Coast.
They were in with Santa Clara. They were in with LMU.
Loyola Marymount. San Diego. Yeah.
Got ties to both them schools. Shout out to nephew and little bro. But and I just saw Sac State is trying to join the Pac-12 for football, which is interesting.
Sacramento State.
State.
I didn't know they were D1. I thought they was 1AA NIAI or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're that D1 team that they schedule for week one games like Fresno State.
Correct.
USC has played Sac State a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead, B, as far as this week, college football.
Oh yeah, no. Where do we want to start?
College.
I mean, there's 2 Friday games. How about we talk about the UNLV Syracuse game, because the quarterback of UNLV left before last week's game
Yeah.
because he didn't get his 100 grand, his
Right.
100
He didn't get
racks.
his money.
Um,
Yeah.
and
No,
then
he was
UNLV
just
promptly
okay.
went over and won that game handily. Which I think some people were like, oh, are they going to be able to win without the star quarterback who's complaining about it? And then they go put 59-14 on Fresno State,
Right. Right.
And are now the 25th ranked team without their I put it in air quotes, star quarterback. This week they play a 3-1 Syracuse, and they're favored by 7.
And I'm betting Syracuse plus the 7. I think Syracuse is a better team and they have the better quarterback. I'm not saying just because they're from ACC. I'm not an ACC homer. I just think that UNLV, when I think of their football program, I just don't think of it being all that great ever. Maybe ever since Randall Cunningham quarterback there, I didn't think they was ever that good. So Syracuse is just a better team in this one. I'm definitely taking Syracuse plus 7. Should be a good game. Should be a close game, but Brian, for some reason, my thing has UNLV ranked number 26, and there isn't really a top 26 or top 25 ranking.
There's a
I don't
top
know what that
25,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
it's a
just looking at
glitch.
the ESPN rankings, but this week they
Okay.
have them at 25.
Do you have a pick in this game?
I really don't. I mean, I think the storyline's interesting, but I do think that UNLV's luck is going to run out, and I think pretty soon. So, if I had to make a pool play on this one, I would absolutely take the points and pick Syracuse.
Yeah, there's a Michigan. I also see Michigan State playing Oregon. Oregon doesn't seem like the same Oregon team. Now, I'm used to Oregon being really, really explosive. Can score in 3 and 4 plays, touchdowns. I don't see this. I mean, yeah, they're ranked 6. I actually think they're a little overvalued.
Let me just say, it does not matter for this game. It does not matter to me that where their ranking is. 24 points is just ridiculous spread for a 3-2 team, a Michigan State, a tough team, not great, but a tough team. I think Oregon's going to win this game, but I don't know about this 24-point stuff. I would absolutely take Michigan State into 24 points, not because I have any slight on Oregon. I just think that's a lot of points in a Big Ten game.
I think Michigan State is offensively challenged when they play against Power 5 schools, but I would definitely take the 24 too against Oregon. Yeah, I can't trust Oregon.
When you got a total point score, right? So let's just go by example. The total for the Syracuse UNLV game is 58.5. UNLV is favored by 7.
No, 52.
The total for the Oregon Michigan State game is 52.5.
Yeah.
And it's a 24-point spread. They don't think Michigan could score a touchdown.
Yeah. I would have to do the math. Yeah, I could do the math and figure out the team totals for each, but it's kind of low. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Any other game? I don't see really any other game on the slate.
Well, we should talk about USC Minnesota because I mentioned I would. I do think
go ahead.
This is a big game for a big test. This game is kind of my nightmare. Everyone who knows me knows I'm born in Minnesota. I have a lot of family ties to the University of Minnesota, and I generally root for them, whether they're great or whether they're not. And pretty much any team from Minnesota that's not hockey. I've exclusively been a Kings fan. But anyways, that being said, I find it weird that this is the week that we're probably going to find out whether or not USC has figured it out. And Minnesota's 2-3 record is deceiving. They have played very, very well. They only lost by 3 points to a then top 10 or 15 Michigan who had fallen after their loss. They only lost by 3 points. And there's people who think that they probably should have won that game. That was just, recently. So anyways, I'm going to say that I think USC has figured it out. USC is a 8-point favorite. I would give the points and go with USC because I think that USC is going to try and make a statement because I think they feel like they should be in the top 10 and this is how they're going to get there.
Yeah, this is a hard one. The reason why is because it's on the road and you just can never, and they got Penn State coming up right after that. It's hard. USC is definitely the better team, but it's just hard to actually make a bet on USC on the road at Minnesota -9, 9.5. I would still pick USC to win the game though.
Yeah.
It's just that if
It's
it
weird,
was the
though.
USC
Big
was at
Ten
home, it's a
football,
no-brainer.
Oregon versus Michigan State, 24-point spread. USC versus Minnesota, 8-point spread. They're kind of all over the place. There's one other game that I think we need to talk about, and
Go ahead.
that's Texas A&M versus Missouri. Missouri's rated number 9. Texas A&M tied for 25th or 25th with UNLV, and Texas A&M is a 2-point favorite, even though they're going up against a top 10 team in Missouri. Why the hell do these folks put Missouri in the top 10 if they're going to put them as a dog against the 25th, 2016? Anyways,
Yeah,
who you got?
I just don't think Missouri's very good. I mean, yes, they beat Murray State and they beat Buffalo, but and not the Bills. But yeah, I just don't think they're very good. I don't think Texas A&M is very good. I just think they're more talented than Missouri. They have more talented players. Now, underachieving players. Remember 2 years ago they had the highest ever NIL squad in history, and they went 5-7 that year. So that's what they get for paying them players too much money. But I think Texas A&M wins this game. I think there's a reason they're favorite, and it's not just because they're at home. It's because they're the better team, slightly better team. That's what I would
I'm
say.
going to
What
go on
about
the
you?
opposite side of this. I think that the 2-point spread is purely because they're playing in College Station, which is a hard place to play. Missouri has played, has played some at least one top 25 team and beat them, and that's Boston College. Whereas Texas A&M has only played one top team, that's Notre Dame, and they lost. So I'll take the 2 points and go with a better ranked team. I will not be surprised if they lose, but it just seems like the better play to me.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M beat Florida. I think Florida's really not that good, but I think they're better than
and they
every
weren't
team.
ranked. The only team that they played that was ranked was Notre Dame when they were number 7, which they lost.
Yeah, I think Florida's better than every team that Missouri's played, but we'll see. Should be a good one. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not even going to lie to you, but it should be a good one.
Yeah, I ain't gonna see it either.
All good. All right. That was this week. What we do? Move to NFL.
To the NFL, man. So I'm looking at the schedule from last week. I'm thinking the games: the Saints, the Falcons. I'll talk about the Rams, Bears, the Vikings, Packers, of course.
Let's start with your team. You've been gone for a couple of weeks. Let's start with the Raiders, Cleveland. And what was funny about this game, before I let you go, what was funny about this game, I got to make a pick in my point spread league. And the only way I picked, I said, who's the home team? Oh, it's the Raiders? Okay, well, I'm going with them. And that was my only thing right there. So you tell me. I know you watched it.
Picked the Browns, though, on the podcast last week.
We did?
I understand why.
I didn't know that.
I understand why.
I know that.
I mean, their defense has been solid, and the Raiders haven't been, they're coming off of an ugly loss, so I figured they'd bounce back a little bit. But
I just figured it was Gardner Minshew's foot in the grave game.
That's right. We did talk about that.
Yeah, yep. I mean, he didn't play all that great anyway, but I mean, we won the game. They ran. We'll see what happens. I think this team's obviously there's gonna be a shift right now, and whatever momentum they might have had is gone. Conversations around Devontae Adams, which were every week anyway, are now going to just intensify with him requesting a trade. So
I think it's whatever that happens will happen quickly.
Yeah, it should. I mean, get that off of there. You guys know you were there. Regardless, I'm excited. It was great to see him in silver and black, see him play. Just for him coming to the team, the fun of that first night of hearing Devontae is coming to the Raiders, was at Brian's. The excitement I had, tequila fueled also, but just running out and diving into the pool and the excitement around it was cool. So it's cool to see, but I mean, it's been obvious and evident. We all know Devontae hasn't been happy here with the Vegas for a while, understandably so. Quarterback situation has been in flux constantly. Had his boy, then his boy's gone. Then he has Jimmy G, then Aiden and Gardner. Not the way you want to end your career. So I'm not mad at all at him. I hope he lands in a good situation. Anywhere about the Chiefs, right? Which I don't think you do anyway, because you don't want to put someone in division. And plus, they have the salary cap to grab his year contract. But I hope he ends up in a good situation. I think for the Raiders, it's probably going to be good to separate too. I think it's kind of a win-win, honestly, at this stage. Both teams can kind of just move on. The Raiders can focus on the players they have. You don't have the focus of why isn't Devontae getting the ball, or he did get the ball, or how come he's not. Everybody can just move on. So
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's almost like when you guys had Osmo on the team, it just made no sense for have a cornerback making like $18 million for that team. You might as well get a couple other players and grow. Same thing I said earlier this season. It doesn't make no
yeah, you
sense for
did.
Devontae to be on that team. The Raiders should get 3 or 4 more players for him, maybe a couple draft picks, maybe 2 players, another player through a trade, and just build what they got and see what they got and see what happens. But
Yeah,
what's the Raiders record? Like 2-2 or 2-3 right now? Two
two
and
and
two?
Two
two,
and two now.
Two and
same
two.
as
Okay.
y'all,
All right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Same as us.
same as y'all.
That's what the
So
Cowboy fan told me. Yeah, we got the same record as
yeah,
y'all.
I mean, we've been, we can actually shift from here from us to y'all, honestly, because I mean, we've been clowning, and I clown always, but
Right, right, right.
y'all have had a very
Well,
good team, but
but I
it's
wouldn't say
looking
very good right
for
now,
years.
but
I'm saying not right now, but for
oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, yeah,
ooh,
our time probably passed. I don't know. We'll
so
see.
say
But me and Brian didn't really have a lot of words on this. We both picked the 49ers to cover the spread in this game. It was the highest
yeah,
spread all season. It was 10 points. You're
yeah,
playing New England. This is a game that if you're 49ers, you can't seriously call yourself a contender for anything if you lose to the New England Patriots.
100%.
A bad line, bad offense, first year coach, Brissett quarterback. You just can't lose to this team. So do I have anything impressive to say about this game? Absolutely not. The 49ers took care of business, and that's pretty much all I can say, which is not good and not bad. It's what was supposed to happen
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Y'all got any thoughts on this game?
Brock Purdy
Yeah,
was
the one
cooking.
thought. What's that?
Hmm?
Brock Purdy was cooking. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing that I have to say is, as a team, if I'm the GM, and this has kind of been a storyline, but if you have Jawan Jennings who is beating out Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle pretty consistently, and he looks pretty damn good doing it. He's making hard catches. He's finding holes and getting open, and has a rapport with Brock Purdy. I would be worried about that long term, not necessarily short term. It's a good thing when you've got a quarterback, a wide receiver who's like that. But long term, when you've put so much money into skill positions to build weapons around Brock Purdy, and most of these weapons are either on a shelf, Kittle's been hurt, McCaffrey's still out,
Yeah.
Debo and Ayuk aren't exactly performing. There's a lot of money that's on the rack right now, and hats off to Juwan Jennings, who consistently looks good. He only had 3 catches for 88 yards, but he consistently seems to get into position to make big plays for a team that needs big plays.
Yeah, it's funny because they extended Jennings. I don't think he's widely viewed around the NFL as a really good receiver, Brian. The reason why I'm saying is because he's only making $5 million this year, and they extended him making $5 million next year. If he could have got more money somewhere else, he would have been gone. So
he came into the season as wide receiver number 4, and then got
right.
escalated to 3, and now he's
right.
He was
playing
solid
as
last
the
year,
one,
though.
but
He had some
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
last
He was
year.
always he's our third. He was our third down maker catch guy. He only has like 25, 30 catches a
Slot
year
guy.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What
real
about
talk though. He's been balling.
what about McCaffrey, man? What are you thinking about that, Coop?
Well, yeah, I'm not
next
surprised,
season.
and this is why I drafted Jordan Mason in both of my leagues. And people ask me
You
why did
did
I
say
draft
that.
Jordan Mason. I was like, because McCaffrey's going to get hurt. Jordan's going to get a lot of carries this year, and I've seen Jordan Mason play over the last couple of years, so I know he can play. In fantasy, it's not really about how great you are, but can you put up stats? To be perfectly honest with you, and I thought he would do
Yeah.
that. McCaffrey, I really don't. To be honest with you, both of you guys, I don't expect McCaffrey to be back the entire season.
Yeah.
This is going to force Shanahan to devise game plans every week without giving the ball to McCaffrey 100 times a game. So, whatever. You got other players, use them. Ayuk, I don't know if you guys saw, Shanahan got on his ass for wearing the wrong practice shorts. You know what I'm saying? This guy makes money and now starts acting like an NBA player. He wants to he can just do anything he want to do. So, I don't know how that little shit. And plus, for a guy who's not performing, I don't think he should be trying to act like he's all that right now. But Jordan Mason, I think he's the guy this year. McCaffrey may come back next year. I don't know. I don't expect nothing from McCaffrey this year, to be perfectly honest with you. Nothing. It's all
Yeah.
Mason this year. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, man. That window, that sliding glass door, may be closing, my boy.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt.
It might be.
Could be.
Might be bad. So,
But we got to get to them undefeated Vikings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I ain't gonna lie. I was on the fence in my point spread league. Do I take Minnesota? Do I take Green Bay? They said, "Oh, Jordan Love's playing." Really? Minnesota it is. I'll take that too.
I knew you was gonna say that.
Let's do it. So Brian, how'd you feel about that game? Did you have a heart attack at the end?
So all the above, yes. I felt good about the game going into it. When I saw that Jordan Love was going to be playing, I was conflicted because I didn't understand what the Packers were doing because a Brian Flores defense is not what you want to be introduced to for your first game back. I mean, that defense is playing lights out. It has been all season. They are, the team is outstanding, right? They're first in passing TDs. They're first in interceptions. They're first in sacks. They're top 5 in scoring offense, top 5 in scoring defense. And that's all thanks to O'Connell and Flores. So when I saw that he was going to be playing, Derek, who's a huge Green Bay fan, was here for the game, which made it a lot more fun. I said, I don't get this. And from the very beginning of the game, you could tell he was not planting on that leg. He was arm throwing it, which made it very difficult. So the Vikings did what they were supposed to do, and they took control of the game with 28 first half points. What they weren't supposed to do, and what was kind of reminiscent of teams that they used to have, is that they got to the fourth quarter and they took the foot off the gas and they stopped playing the offense that had gotten them there and started playing the offense that they thought could keep them there. And that's exactly why they went the opposite direction and gave up 22 points. But a lot of it was on those drives in the fourth quarter, the Vikings were going 3 and out. And they were content with that because they thought they had a big lead. The way you win games is to put your foot on the throat and twist. And the Vikings showed that they're not quite there yet. They're not used to winning at this level just yet. But I think that they're going to be able to develop it over time. They got a big, important win, held on tight with against the Packers, which was, yes, a much more exciting game than it needed to be. But I did enjoy it. I did think it was nice. And I did like what the offense was doing. Jordan Love's numbers do not tell the story about what's going to happen next. Because if he can't plant and they keep hitting him like they did, there was one time where he chose to run and got lit up and he barely made it back to his huddle. I don't think he's going to have a very long season if he keeps on playing and can't plant and can't move. They need to sit him down and let him get healthy. By the way, for anyone keeping score, they're 0-2 and lost, and for when he starts, and 2-0 when Malik Willis starts. So
that's tough though. That's unfair because you can't really. I mean, you win the games, but they're different situations and stuff too.
Yeah.
But still, it's status.
Malik Willis had one of them Jimmy G games where he threw for 9 times that game, or 10 times, something like that.
Oh yeah, they definitely
ran
had
53
much different
times.
game plan. There's no way that Malik Willis is throwing for 390 yards.
Hell no.
And then
not in the season.
Yeah, that's what good coaching will do if you can figure out devise a game plan. So it's been interesting to see though, man. That Vikes offense and defense are playing good, man. I don't know about you, B. Are you one of those do you like the national media and everybody saying how good you guys are? Do you like kind of being underdog and quiet?
Me worry. You know this. I'm a reluctant winner. This happened a couple seasons ago when they had that really hot start, and then I said I just don't believe it, and unfortunately got proven right. They went 1-6 down the stretch. But this time, my difficulty is that I actually do kind of believe in what they're doing. And I am becoming a believer in the success. And I feel like I'm just setting myself up for a big letdown because I'm buying into it. I am believing. I think Darnold is very good this year. I'm not saying he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
This year, he's playing really, really good football. Again, he leads the league in passing touchdowns. That's a pretty important thing when you're a quarterback. I think I've gotten to the point where I can accept that they should be the favorite and win these football games. And I'm just worried about where that puts me because I've been through a few Viking seasons at this point in my life.
Man,
none of them have ended the way we wanted it to.
We play golf, B. You got to imagine it's going to be the good shot. You can't assume it's going to be the slice.
That's what my golf coach always told me, right? He was like, you always have to imagine that you're going to hit the perfect shot and plan for that.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's cool to see, man.
I have a hard time doing that on the golf course too.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. It's good to see all the teams rolling, man. What about the other games that I don't care about?
Saints, Falcons, you want to talk about?
Yeah, Cowboys, Giants, I was skipping over. Saints, Falcons, they're 2-2, but it's interesting.
Well, we split on this one. Coop took the Saints and I took the Falcons.
And it was close.
It was super close. I don't know if the Falcons, what the spread was the spread.
I'm not sure what it
For
was.
which game? What are you talking about?
The Saints
Falcons and
Falcons. I know
Saints.
you took the Saints.
Oh,
and
it
I
was
took
3. It was 2.5, 3.
They won by 2.
It
There
was
you
it
go.
was 2. In my
good.
point spread league, it was 2.5, and I think I took
Atlanta
New
by
Orleans.
2.5.
Yeah,
Either
won by
way,
2. Yeah.
Saints kept it close enough. They would have got it. It was 2.5 or 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I took the Atlanta Falcons on that one. Look, Kirk Cousins. I got an IM from a friend or a message from a friend who's like, "Thanks for nothing on giving us Kirk Cousins. He doesn't seem to be able to perform in the big moments." I'm like, I've been saying it for a long time.
They won the game.
They won the game. He had 0 touchdowns and one interception with a 68 quarterback rating. It was not. They did not win because of him.
I'll say winning quarterback Kirk Cousins on that game. So
he's 2 for 2, and Saints are 2 for 2, just like the Raiders and the
Niners.
I do got to say there was a game that me and Brian talked about last week, Lynn, very briefly. It was Pittsburgh and Indianapolis because
I'm going
undefeated.
I was going to bring that one up too. Yeah.
And Brian picked Pitt, and I picked Indianapolis. Now look, I came into this was the one bet I lost this week. I took the under in this game. I think it was under 41 points because I was very content on watching Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson stink up the joint. Okay. It didn't happen. All right. Justin Fields had a decent game. And then I didn't know that Joe Flacco was the quarterback of the Indianapolis
real
Colts.
Quick, man, October 4th,
well, he
2020.
Wasn't.
Real
it's
quick.
Just he got hurt. Anthony Richards got hurt early in the first quarter.
Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I didn't know he
time.
played
real
quarterback.
Quick,
I didn't know he was
quick.
in the league. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, October 1st, 2024. I think that was the nicest thing you've ever said about Justin Fields. Go ahead.
No, you hella funny. Yeah, Joe Flacco comes in, man. He comes in like he was the regular starter, man. The offense got moving. He threw a couple touchdown passes, and Indianapolis ended up winning way over of the 41, went 51 points. But I don't know if Anthony. I think we talked about in the pregame. I don't like Anthony Richardson's style. It's just conducive to get hurt. Yeah, his style of play, you're going to get hurt in the NFL. You can't play like that. And I want to see how good he can be, but I don't think we will ever get that opportunity. I just don't think his style of play will ever let us get it.
His arm is crazy.
His
arm talent is nuts.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see what the peak of his ability could be because I just think he's going to get hurt. But we were on opposite sides of that game, so it was close. But I want to bring that up that Joe Flacco was in the league. I didn't know that. So
he's 8 days older than Anthony Richardson's mom.
That's hella funny.
Hella funny. So
Glenn, you mentioned you want to talk about the Rams Chicago. I didn't think there was much to talk about.
There's
the Rams
not, but just because of Caleb Williams and people like he's not it's kind of sluggish.
So I think I know a game we should talk about. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about we talk about that game? Let's see.
Why would you want to talk about that game, Jason?
Look, it was
whatever could interest you in that game.
It's a rematch of the playoffs. How the Eagles, Tampa Bay got lucky. They beat the Eagles, and so now the Eagles get their rematch. And I'm looking at this game, and at one point in the game, they got the great Jalen Hurts quarterback. And at one point in the game, I'm looking at the total yards. Tampa Bay has 255, and the Eagles have 0. How can that happen with the great Jalen Hurts at quarterback? This is yet another loss. I think it was 10 out of 12, 9 out of 12, something like that. But Tampa Bay just kicked Philadelphia Eagles' ass. That wasn't even. It's clear that Tampa Bay is the better team in this game. The score is 19 points. It looked like it was probably 30 the way the teams were playing.
They almost doubled their point. They almost doubled their yardage, right? It was 227 to 445.
Yeah, it was.
This is a completely different Tampa Bay team than last year for a whole host of reasons, and they're playing very, very well. That's why they're 3-1. But Baker Mayfield, I'll be talking about a little bit later. 350 yards and 2 touchdowns, not too shabby.
Yeah. Well, while we go to Baltimore, Buffalo, I know I picked Baltimore. I couldn't believe the spread was only 2.5. I just think Baltimore is better than Buffalo. But did you watch that game, Brian? I know Lamar Jackson's your guy.
I did, and it was a clinic.
Yeah,
the Buffalo Bills did not. The best way to describe it is after the Buffalo Bills got punched twice in the jaw, they gave up. right? They always say you have a plan until you get punched. Well, they got punched twice and they gave up. They didn't show any fight in them. It looked like really towards the end of the game that they just wanted to get one touchdown on the board so that they could say they scored a touchdown late. But we talked a little bit last week about certain quarterbacks. Like my thing with Purdy is I don't think he can carry a team like that. And good. I said Josh Allen is one of those quarterbacks who's shown that he can. Well, he didn't this week. And Lamar Jackson, who only had to throw 18 times for 156 yards, but still got 2 touchdowns. The Baltimore Ravens proved that what team they can be when they're hitting on all cylinders. So before the season, when Derrick Henry went there was a lot of hype about, will they be able to put all these weapons together? Baltimore's always led the league in rushing offense, but never had a top running back. Now they got it. Well, they showed what it can look like when you put all of that together, and it was impressive. But I don't think that they're going to be able to win these types of games every single week. I also think, related to this game somewhat, Von Miller being suspended for 4 games is going to be a huge problem for Buffalo. He is their top player on defense. I know he's still old, but he's top 25 in most statistical categories that win at the line, so on and so forth. And he leads the team in sacks, leads the team in tackles, and he's going to be out for 4 weeks. That's not a short period of time in football. And I think that's going to be problematic for the Buffalo Bills, who are having troubles on offense if they don't even have their better players on a defense that gave up 35 points.
Yeah, they lost a lot of people on defense, and to lose Von Miller in another 4 games not going to help them. Baltimore did something smart. They actually gave the ball to Derrick Henry. I said, if you're going to have Derrick Henry,
early and often,
you got to give it to him 20 to 25 times a game. That's
sense.
what being in Derrick Henry business is, and he got 24 carries.
100%.
So good for Derrick Henry, a guy that I like watching play. So yeah. Wait, you know what? Speaking of that, are there 3 guys that both of you guys have? I mean, even if you don't have 3, 1, 2, or 3 guys that you would actually pay money to see in the NFL, like an NFL game? You guys got guys like that?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Derrick Henry is definitely one of them.
I heard that. Yeah, we did that. We saw Jefferson, but he got hurt.
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson and, well, quite honestly, Derrick Henry, I would have said Lamar Jackson because I think that he's just so exciting. So that team would definitely be that. And then probably Mahomes, just because when the refs aren't giving him the game, he can actually do some things that are exciting to watch.
I've seen him enough. I've seen him in Oakland.
Your top 3, Brian, exactly my top 3. It's Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry. Those are the 3 guys that I would pay to see.
Lamar?
Hell yeah.
He's exciting.
Wow.
At any point in time. And
Lamar is an athlete.
A lot of trash about him, but I know he's got love for him.
Yeah,
right. Lamar is one of the best athletes ever to play in NFL. Just because I don't think he can throw don't mean I wouldn't watch him play. The dude's exciting. He's exciting to watch.
What October 1st, 2024?
No,
what
man,
is this?
It's Freaky Friday, but it's a Tuesday.
Man, is it, bro? This is fantastic. Justin Fields love and Lamar love. Damn.
Hella funny.
Bro, that's crazy. How about Kyler Murray? Too far?
Right, you're going now, but watch your tone.
All right, let me stop.
Watch your tone, man.
Man, you know what, man? Mine I don't like right now. I'm thankful and lucky enough to go to quite a few games. So I've seen a lot of these guys we said. Mine are old, man. I wouldn't want to see like prime Adrian Peterson. And like
I got prime
like
players I want to see.
That's what I want to see. But
then,
like right now, like I'm thankful to go to games. Like I've seen a lot of cats play. Mahomes is crazy though. Like I don't want to see him no more. I gotta be honest. TV's fine.
Well, one more game before we get to this week's stuff. We have to talk about the Seahawks Lions Monday night.
It's a good game.
The undefeated Seahawks at the time going up against a 2-1 Lions.
It was exciting, I should say. It wasn't good.
Yeah,
we saw 2 quarterbacks play incredible football. Right? I mean, Geno Smith, who lost the game, threw for 395 yards. That's impressive in 1 touchdown.
He threw 56
and Jared
times,
Goff was literally perfect. 18 for 18. The ball did not hit the ground when it came out of his hand. No interceptions. 18 for 18 for 292. Now, I think I mentioned earlier that another quarterback threw for like 150 on 18. He threw for 292 and
Perfect
2
game.
touchdowns, and also received one just to make it interesting. This game, this was not the best football game, but it certainly was one of the most entertaining and interesting
absolutely.
football games.
Yeah, and I'm happy it was entertaining because I had the over 47 in this game, so I was happy to see explosive offense on
You
both
damn near
sides.
got that with the Lions.
Right,
They
and I got and I got a tip for somebody. I didn't bet it, but they said take Geno Smith over 35 pass attempts. He threw 56 times against that defense.
Sheesh.
So, this team. So from the Detroit side, uh, I would say Detroit to me, Brian, Glenn, is now more of a running team. I think they've leaned on the run the beginning of this season. I don't look at them as a passing team. They can pass, but I think they figured out they have a really good offensive line and a couple of good backs. So they're just going to feed those guys, especially Gibbs. Gibbs is really good. They ran the ball, 26 times, but between the two of them, they threw the ball 18 times. On the Seattle side, the problem with Seattle last year was they had trouble against passing teams. And the teams they had trouble passing against them, they were able to run a little bit as well because the passing kind of opened up the run. And it seems like they still have trouble against teams that can pass the ball. I mean, Jared Goff went 18 for 18. They couldn't even get an incompletion out of him. And Detroit ran pretty effectively. So it looks like Seattle's issues from last year have kind of carried over to this year. But still, like both of you guys say, I agree on how you guys said the game was. I was just happy to see scoring. I don't like those field goal fests and those boring games. So I was happy to see scoring. And if you were watching Tennessee and Miami, you were happy to turn to this damn game because Tennessee and Miami was definitely
I had them
boring.
both on the split screen. Yeah, but the volume was on that one. Correct.
Yeah.
Work. Being other thoughts on that game?
Nope.
All right,
all good.
Let's do. We only got
do this week.
Try and do.
You tell us what to talk about.
I'm gonna throw out some quick hitters. So just kind of give me your quick thoughts and let's go to the next one because try and keep us within an hour. So first game, Vikings
Thursday.
Jets.
Oh, I thought you want to go Thursday. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we don't.
Vikings Jets. Who you got?
So 6:30 in the morning. I think this is a trap game. I am worried about this game because it's in London. It's a Vikings game in London at 6:30 in the morning. All those things worry me, but I'm still going to say that the Vikings can cover the 2.5 points and get the win. But even the 2.5 points against a crappy Jets team that has all types of turmoil going on tells you that the Vegas folks don't believe that this is a game that's going to go well for the Vikings.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, my Vikings are definitely the better team. I'm going to take the Jets, and the only reason why is I think they have the more desperate team. They only scored 9 points last week against Denver. They need, they need to win this game more. I'm not saying the Vikings don't need it. They're 4-0, but I think the Jets have to win this game, and so I'm taking the Jets in this one.
All right, Ravens at Bengals. Coop, you go.
Ravens at Bengals. Look, I don't like the way that Cincinnati's been playing this year. I don't think they're very good. I'm going to go with Baltimore on the road. Usually Cincinnati has their way with Baltimore. I just think Baltimore's a better team at this moment in the season.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore. I just think they're playing better football and they're figuring out how to use Derrick Henry at the right time. And I don't think the Bengals have enough firepower to keep up with them.
Solid. Bills at Texans. B, you're on this one.
What is that? A Buffalo -1. I'm taking the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says Buffalo -1. I'm taking the Texans. I think the Von Miller 4-week suspension it looms large, especially when you play teams like a CJ Stroud-led Texans team. So give me the Texans.
Yeah, I've been kind of profitable going against the Texans. They haven't covered the spread all season, but I think they're going to win this game against Buffalo. I just think they're overall the better team. And Stephon Diggs can just stick it to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he wants it.
There. My team, Raiders at Broncos. Raiders won 8 in a row. Hoping we can win one more. It's at Broncos. There's going to be turmoil. We'll see. Broncos are coming off a tough win against the Jets. Cool.
I'm taking the under 36 points in this game. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what team's going to win. I think the Raiders are the better team. To be perfectly honest with you, I think they're the better team. I can't take the rookie quarterback against the Raiders, so I'm going to go with the Raiders, but I'm definitely betting the under in this game.
Agreed.
Yeah.
B?
I move away from tumult, and so I'm taking the Broncos, and that's because there's just too much stuff going on the Raiders right now to have confidence they can come together to win a game.
Fair. Cardinals at 49ers. Coop, your team.
Yeah, look, the Cardinals are going to keep this game closer than what people think. Cardinals have been hanging with some teams. It wouldn't surprise me if the Cardinals won or if it was a 3-point game. I'm taking the 49ers, but only by about 3 or 4 points. I think Arizona covers.
Well, so I was gonna say San Francisco -7.5. So I would take the Cardinals to on the spread. And that's all I need. All I need to say there. I don't need to pick a team who's going to win. I just need to say
Okay.
Cardinals on the +7.5 is the pick.
The battle of 2-2 teams. Yep.
Fantastic, bro. Fantastic. Great quick hitters, man. That was top notch work. Any game you want to throw out before we slide?
But I want to know what Brian feels about Dallas at Pittsburgh. That's the Sunday night game.
Yeah,
It's Pittsburgh -2.5 at home against Dallas. Who you like?
give me Pittsburgh.
I'm taking Pittsburgh too. Not because I hate Dallas. I just think that this is a good spot for Dallas to lose and Pittsburgh to win.
Look,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has shown week in and week out they can find ways to win games they should win. And Cowboys have shown week in and week out they can find ways to lose games
Right.
Sure
that
have.
they should win. So you put those two things together, give me Pittsburgh.
Sure have. Cool. Great work.
Yeah, that's about it.
Great work, gentlemen. Last couple segments. Hogwash. B, this was your segment. If you got one, go for it.
So I do. I want to say, I don't know if hopefully everyone's aware who listens to us, but Dikembe Mutombo passed away recently. And the comments that Rob Schneider made are so flippin' disgusting that I have to call him out in my Hogwash section. So Rob Schneider replied to a post
The comedian?
about Mutombo's passing and suggested that the reason why was he got the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, and said, I'm not going to let any of my friends that I care about and love mess around with the jab because you might end up like Dikembe Mutombo. That man died of brain cancer. There's not a damn link in the world between a COVID vaccine and that. It was a disgusting thing to say, and it just pissed me off that it was out there. So Rob Schneider, you're a bunch of hogwash. I'm done with you, period.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cold. Yeah, Dikembe Mutombo was a good dude too. Spoke 7
It
languages
was a
too.
great good.
Didn't
Yeah.
even know.
Lots of people
that
telling their Dikembe Mutombo stories, and there's some pretty good ones. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone's heard the what he would do when he walked into the bar story. It's not PG-13, so look it up, but it's very, very funny.
I'll ask you
Yeah.
after the show. Cool.
Man, you know what? This week I don't even have one. But since you mentioned Dikembe Mutombo, I got to mention John Amos, man, the father of Good Times, man. That
Yes.
was one of the best TV dads in the history of TV, man. From Good Times, he was always ready to get that belt out and give somebody a whooping. But RIP to him. He's been in hella
That's
movies.
good,
Coming
Dad,
to
but-
America. He was on Martin. He was on an episode of Martin called Daddy Dearest. You should look it up. He played Tommy's dad. It was hella funny. But yeah, man, RIP to him. I think somebody else passed away too. I think it comes in threes. It was Dikembe. or
There's
John
been a
Amos
few
or
actually.
somebody.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Well, we didn't even talk about Pete Rose, but
RIP.
there was also
Yeah.
was it Maggie passed away in Europe.
So this is a half hogwash, half minute to win it for anybody who's
He did the
who's
same
in there.
thing last time.
Yeah, I didn't see that part. Cool. When you get back, we'll tell you. Look like you just sneezed. For me,
next
real
one, yeah.
quick, I was gonna go to damn, you made me forget when I just saw this. Oh, John Fisher and the A's, man. You already know what's up. Y'all could have figured that out. From what I'm seeing too is he was blocking the Raiders from doing any improvements to the stadium too. And so I heard that before, and now I'm believing it's true. They could have did something. There was enough money between those two teams to make something happen, and then to drum up enough support locally to get private money to do something if you wanted to stay. Coop, I know what you're saying, no money there, but people support the teams. You can't charge $500 a ticket like they can in Vegas. So I understand that part of it, but you'd have had enough to fill them seats up. So anyway, trash.
I'm
keep
going to
moving.
piggyback on you and do a second hogwash. The Pittsburgh Pirates owner it's become more blatant of late. He actually cut a player who was 4 plate appearances from getting a $200,000 bonus purely because he didn't want to pay the money.
Wow.
And all the fans in Pittsburgh
That's
are like,
trash.
this is for rat. He has openly said he has no desire to field a winning team because a losing team is more profitable.
Right.
He is one of the most profitable owners in baseball. And
Yeah.
that's because if they lose a certain amount of games and have a low enough attendance, they get a whole bunch of subsidy money from the rest of
Right.
the league. And because some of those other teams, like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, make so much money, those subsidy payments make him more profitable than he would be if he were otherwise putting a winning team out there.
Yeah,
it is sad that it's hogwash.
Yeah, that's
Sorry
trash.
to piggyback on it.
Baseball's revenue sharing. Yeah, that's how the Kansas City Royals, because the Walton family, the people on Walmart,
That's
they own the
trash.
Royals.
Yeah.
They were doing the same thing, just profiting.
Trash.
The owners committees need to have a little bit more pride in if they're not fielding a competitive team on a regular basis, they need to get them out of ownership.
There's people that would want to. All right, last segment, minute to win it. Mine is real quick, man. Mine is for Savannah James, who I saw a post from LeBron. She has never played 2K, never played video games, but picked up NBA 2K to play practice with her son on the game. That's pretty dope to have your kid in there. Married to LeBron, wasn't worried about it, but having her firstborn on the game, had to rock with it. Gotta love that, man. Shout out to mom. Y'all, up to y'all.
I don't got nothing except, thank everybody for listening while GB was out. Me and B tried to hold it down, tried to do the best we could, GB. It looks like the show didn't crash and burn. We still here. So happy to have you back. But me and Brian, man, we held it down.
Y'all did great.
Had a good time doing it too.
We ghost rode the whip.
Yeah. Y'all did great.
So mine, I wanted to point out something that I think is pretty interesting about this season. So with Sam Darnold, who's having a really outstanding season, there's a lot of quarterbacks who are retread quarterbacks who are having very good seasons this year, including Sam Darnold. Those include Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco as of this week, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, who are towards the back end of their career. And if you look up stats, wins, touchdowns, passing yards, they're amongst the top 10 in the league. And these are, it's long since we switched to people talking about the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jacksons and Josh Allens and, the younger and Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud. But people who are closer, I can't say closer to our age are showing that they still got a little left in the tank and they look good doing it. So Joe Flacco, when he came in to fill in for Anthony Richardson, looked like a pro. Not to say he looked great or he's all of a sudden a winner or anything like that, but he looked like somebody who understands the game of football, knew how to read, knew how to play the game and execute. And it's neat to see that because so often the athleticism of the young, talented quarterbacks overshadows the skills that some of the more veteran quarterbacks, and we talk so much about them that we forget that some of these guys who are getting put on the bench can find their way. And I'm just very thankful to the 49ers, who Sam Darnold gives a lot of credit to showing him how to be the quarterback that he's showing he can be this year. He looks really good. He's decisive. He doesn't hold on the ball forever. And he throws a pretty decent pass. And him and Jefferson have a rapport because that pass in the end zone for the touchdown was picture perfect.
Right. Well played, man. That's the Sports Counterpoints podcast. It's October the 1st, 2024. We will catch y'all next week. Peace.